My friend used her illness to control every trip. I planned one she couldn't ruin. I met her in college. Let's call her Mara. She was funny, loud, and the kind of person who made strangers feel like friends in 5 minutes. We bonded fast, the kind of fast where you start calling someone your best friend before you even realize it happened. Mara also had a chronic illness. It was real. I am not doubting that. Some days she was fine. Some days she could not get out of bed. I believed her. I still do. But over time, her illness became the center of everything we did. At first it was small. If we were going out, we had to pick places close to parking. If we went to a concert, we had to stand near an exit. If we traveled, we had to book hotels with elevators, room service, late checkouts. I did not mind. When you love someone, you adapt. Then we started doing group trips, beach weekends, cabin trips, city getaways. And that is when things started to feel off. Every single trip followed the same pattern. We would plan for weeks. Everyone would take time off work, book flights, put down deposits. Mara would be excited. She would send links. She would vote on restaurants and activities. Then, right when we arrived, something would happen. The first time, she had a flare-up the night we got there. She could not leave the hotel room for 2 days. We canceled hiking, dinners, everything. We stayed in, ordered food, and watched movies because we did not want to abandon her. The second trip, she made it to day 1, then suddenly needed to go to urgent care. We spent half the trip sitting in a waiting room. The third trip, she said she was too exhausted to do anything we planned, but she still wanted us nearby in case she needed something. At first I thought it was just bad luck. Chronic illness is unpredictable. But after the 4th and 5th trip, a pattern started to form. Every time there was something she did not want to do, she was suddenly too sick. Every time someone else wanted to lead the day, she was suddenly in pain. And every time we talked about doing something without her, she would get upset and say we were abandoning her because of her illness. I started feeling trapped. I could not tell where her real symptoms ended and where the control began. I was not allowed to question it. The moment I did, I felt like a monster. So I stopped questioning. I just kept canceling plans. And honestly, I started resenting her for it. But the breaking point did not come from a small weekend trip. It came from the biggest vacation we had ever planned. We had all been saving for 2 years to go overseas. A real once-in-a-lifetime trip. Flights, tours, everything booked. It was the kind of thing you do maybe once in your life. Mara was part of the planning from day 1, and I already knew deep down what was going to happen, but I was not ready for how far she would take it. We were going to Europe, 4 of us, me, Mara, and 2 other friends, 10 days across 3 countries. We had spreadsheets, color-coded maps, even a shared folder with reservations. It was that serious. Mara was involved in every single decision. She picked the hotels. She insisted on ground floor rooms. She vetoed early morning tours. She said she needed rest days built in. We all agreed, because we always did. 2 weeks before the trip, she started acting strange. She stopped replying in the group chat for hours at a time, then days. When she did reply, it was vague. Not feeling great. Having a hard week. I asked if she was okay. She said she was just stressed. 3 days before our flight, she sent a long message. She said her doctor warned her not to travel. She said flying could make her worse. She said she was scared. We all panicked. We asked if she was dropping out. She said no, she still wanted to go. She just needed us to be flexible. We promised we would. The night before the flight, she called me crying. She said she did not think she could handle the itinerary, that she might not even make it out of the hotel some days. She said she did not want to hold us back, but she also did not want to be alone in a foreign country. I barely slept that night. At the airport, she showed up pale and shaky. She leaned on me at security. She needed a wheelchair at the gate. Everyone stared. I felt like if I said anything wrong, I would be the villain. We got on the plane. She took medication. She cried quietly. I thought maybe I was wrong about her. Maybe this really was just her illness. Then we landed. Within 2 hours, she was suddenly energetic, laughing, taking selfies, walking around the city. She even suggested going to a bar that night. I was confused but relieved. The next morning, we were supposed to take a train to our next city. Mara woke up too sick to move. She said her body had crashed. She said she could not handle the train. She said we should stay another night so she could recover. We told her the tickets were already booked, non-refundable. She said she did not care about the money. Her health came first. So we stayed. We lost the train. We lost the hotel we had paid for. We spent another night in the same place because she could not travel. The next day, she felt better. This became the rhythm of the entire trip. Anytime we were supposed to move on, she was too sick. Anytime there was something she was not excited about, she was in pain. But when we were doing something she liked, she was fine. By day 6, the other 2 friends were furious. They whispered to me when Mara went to the bathroom. They said this was not normal, that she was controlling everything. I wanted to defend her, but I could not, because deep down I knew they were right. And then she crossed a line that I could not unsee. By the time we got to the hotel, my phone was already blowing up. I hadn't even unpacked yet. I was still standing in the doorway, staring at the ocean through the sliding glass doors, when I felt it vibrating in my hand like a trapped insect. 5 missed calls, 7 unread messages, all from her. I didn't open them. I knew exactly what they would say. Some version of I'm hurt. I'm scared. I don't feel well. How could you leave without me? You promised we'd always do things together. That was the thing. I never actually promised that. She just kept saying it until it felt true. The guilt hit me anyway. It always did. Years of being trained to feel responsible for her emotions didn't disappear just because I crossed state lines. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in my hand, staring at the screen. Finally, I opened the messages. They were worse than I expected. She wasn't asking how I was. She wasn't saying she hoped I had a good trip. She was telling me she was sick, that her chest hurt, that she felt faint, that she didn't know if she should go to the hospital, that she couldn't believe I would abandon her like this when she was in danger. And then, the line that always got me, if something happens to me, this will be on you. I felt my stomach drop. That sentence had stopped so many of my plans over the years. Birthdays, road trips, weddings, even my own promotion dinner. All canceled because she suddenly wasn't okay and needed me. I typed out a reply, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. For the first time, I didn't rush to apologize. I didn't promise to come home. I didn't offer to call an ambulance or her mom or anyone else. I just stared at the screen and realized something that made my hands shake. She only ever got this sick when I wasn't doing what she wanted. I put the phone face down on the nightstand. Then I stood up, walked to the balcony and opened the door. Warm air rushed in. Waves rolled in slow and steady. People were laughing somewhere below. Life was happening, and for once, I was actually in it. I stayed out there until the sun started to set. When I finally checked my phone again, there were even more messages. Voice notes, too. Crying. Accusations. Desperate promises that she would be better if I just came back. And buried in all of it was something I had never seen so clearly before. None of it was about her being sick. It was about losing control over me. I didn't go back. That alone felt unreal. The next morning, I woke up in a strange bed, in a quiet room, with sunlight spilling across the floor, and for a split second I forgot about her entirely. No nausea, no dread, no pressure sitting on my chest. Just quiet. Then my phone buzzed. More messages, fewer now. The panic had shifted into something colder. So this is how it is. I guess I don't matter to you anymore. I thought we were family. Family. That word used to hook me every time. We weren't related, but she said it so often it felt like a bond I wasn't allowed to break. If I didn't pick up the phone, if I didn't cancel plans, if I didn't give her what she wanted, I was betraying family. I finally replied. I kept it simple. I told her I was on the trip I had planned, that I hoped she felt better, that I needed some space. Her response came instantly. You're doing this to punish me. You know how sick I am. You're being cruel. I read it twice. For years, I had believed that taking care of her was proof that I was kind, that walking on eggshells was what love looked like, that sacrificing my own life was the price of being a good person. But standing there in that quiet hotel room, I felt something shift. If she was truly in danger, she would call a doctor, or her family, or an ambulance. She wasn't doing that. She was calling me, because I was the one she could control. That realization hurt more than I expected. It made every canceled plan replay in my head, every apology I gave when I hadn't done anything wrong, every time I let her illness decide what I was allowed to do. Later that day, I went out alone. I walked along the beach. I ate at a little cafe. I watched people live their lives without checking their phones every 2 minutes to see if someone else was okay. It felt like I was seeing the world through new eyes. That night, she sent one last message. I guess I see who you really are now. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. When I got home, everything looked the same. My couch, my kitchen, my bed. But I wasn't. I half expected a confrontation, a dramatic call, maybe even her showing up at my door. That's how it always went when I tried to step back before. She would cry, or say she was getting worse, or remind me of everything I owed her. None of that happened. 2 days passed, then 3. Finally, she sent a long message. Not about being sick, not about needing help, about how hurt she was, about how abandoned she felt, about how I had changed, about how she never thought I would be this selfish. I read it slowly, all the way through. There was no mention of doctors, no test results, no hospital visits, no plans for her care. Just me. I replied with something I had never said before. I told her I cared about her, but I was done letting her illness run my life. I was done being her only lifeline. I was done being afraid to live. She didn't reply. Instead, she unfriended me, blocked me, removed herself from my life in one clean sweep. And it was the most peaceful thing she had ever done for me. Weeks later, mutual friends told me she was fine. Going out, traveling, living like she always had when she wasn't getting something from me. It stung. Not because I missed her, but because it proved what I had always been afraid to admit. She hadn't needed me. She had needed control. Now I plan trips without guilt. I say yes to things. I don't flinch when my phone buzzes. And sometimes, late at night, I think about how close I came to spending my entire life orbiting someone else's drama. I didn't ruin her trip. I saved my life. Have you ever had a friend like this?